Resizing patterns in Adobe Illustrator has never been easier. I'm so thankful for this new upgrade and the changes that they made to artboards. This is something that I've been waiting for since the late 80s when I first started using Adobe Illustrator. I'm Chico, I'm an artist and designer, and today I'm going to help you learn how to easily resize your patterns in Adobe Illustrator for things like Spoonflower, for example. So here we have our pattern, repeat pattern tile, and it's on our artboard. I can double check to make sure that my repeat pattern is repeatable by just dragging it over to my swatch panel and dropping it in there. I can drag my rectangle out and fill it with the pattern and see that my pattern repeats perfectly. So let's just delete that for now. So here we have our artboard. And one of the newest changes to Adobe Illustrator with artboards is that we can actually name our artboards. So to do that, you can open the artboard panel. And over here we see this is our actual number of our artboard. And as it's titled, it's currently artboard 1. I can double click here and I can call this original. So this is my original pattern. And if I want to see what size this artboard is, I can go back into my artboard view, and there's two different ways to get to that. I can simply click here and go to artboard tool. And here you can see that it says my width and my height is 500 by 500. And the other way to get to that, let me just go back really quick, is to go to document setup and click edit artboards. And we're in the same view. If you don't see your width and height, it's possible that you're working on a laptop with a smaller resolution. And if that's the case, you can click here and you can see your artboard options and you can edit the width and height here. All right, so now that we know our width and height is 500 points, I'm just going to click over here. And we know our width and height is 500 points. So the next thing we need to do is maybe we actually edit this so we know what size this is. So let's go back to our artboards and let's change this title by double clicking in here and call it 500 pixels. All right, now we know the size. So let's say we want to upload this for Spoonflower. Spoonflower, for example, with wallpapers has specific sizes. So let's check out Spoonflower's sizes for wallpapers. Here you can see that their largest width is 24 inches, which is 3,600 pixels, and that's one repeat widthwise. Okay, so that's their maximum. If you want your pattern to be very large, you're going to design it at 24 inches. But you can have a smaller repeat at 3 inches or 1 inch. And if you have it at 3 inches, for example, that means that it repeats 8 times within a 24-inch area. So let's say we want to make this gingham print here, the maximum at 24 inches, and we want another one that's like a small gingham at 3 inches. So we can go into here, into Illustrator, and now it is so easy to do this. Before, you had to do some math, you had to make artboards, you had to manually scale. And now, with the new Adobe Illustrator, Artboards has made scaling patterns so easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our artboard view. And I want to duplicate this artboard. So I'm just going to hold Option, and I'm going to click and drag it over. And now I've duplicated the artboard. My artwork is staying on my artboard because I have this toggled on. Up here, you can see that this square is darkened. That means that it's activated. And this says move copy artwork with artboard. So if I don't have that activated, I'll just drag over the artboard by itself. Well, now I have here my artboard at 500 by 500. If we look here, we can see that if we want it at 3 inches, it needs to be smaller at 450 pixels. So I want to scale this down to 450 pixels. And what I'm going to do is I am going to, first I want to adjust my artboard so that it's on a value that's even. So I'm going to put 640, round it to the nearest whole number. And I'm going to adjust the width to 450 by 450. But before I do this, I need to make sure that I have the Scale Artwork tool selected. So when I scale my artboard, it's going to scale my artwork with it. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to enter here 450 and hit return and hit 450 again. Now I can lock this and constrain the height and width next time. And I'll show you how I do that on the next time so I don't have to enter 450 twice. All right, so now I have my pattern scaled on one artboard, and I'm going to make another one that's larger at 24 inches. So I'm just going to use my hand to pan over to the side, and I'm going to hold Option as I click and hold Shift and drag over. I'm going to set my artboard position to a whole number again, 1370. All right, and now what I'm going to do is double check my pixel width, which is 3600 pixels. And I'm going to scale this to 3600 pixels. Before I do, I'm going to hit the constrain proportions. And now it's going to constrain my proportions when I just change one of the values. So 3600, hit tab or return, and you can see it goes up to 3600 right away. I'm just going to zoom out here, and you can see that we have all of our scales. Now what I can do is I can rename my artboards so that I know what I'm exporting them for. Double click here, and I can call this 450 pixel, or I could put it in inches if I wanted. And I could go here, and I could call this 3600 pixels. All right. And so now I've scaled all my artwork very quickly, and I have different options available for Spoonflower. Now to export them, I'm going to go to File, Export, Export As. And now here, I'm going to export them as JPEGs. I'm going to click Use Artboards. I'm going to give them a title, Spoonflower, Gingham. I'm going to click Suffix. And I'm going to click Export. Here, I'm going to keep it in RGB for Spoonflower. My quality set at maximum. I keep this set here. At Spoonflower, they particularly want 150 ppi. And I'm going to keep this set at Art Optimized. And I'm going to keep my profile embedded, and I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to check my files. And here I found all of my files, and you can see that they're labeled with the scale because we took time to label our artboards. So down the road, that also saves you time. If you're exporting multiples or you make errors, doing this makes pattern scaling and exporting patterns for Spoonflower more efficient. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it makes your workflow more efficient. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and share it with somebody else. I'm Xhico, and I want you to be successful designing the world around you. If you want to learn more from me, make sure that you join my free design club or join my membership in the Inner Circle. I'd love to see you there. Until next time, I'm Xhico. Keep learning and be a better designer.